Today with Robert Rudelic, author of Anything is Possible, The Art and Science of Tapping into Your Power. So we're going to find a little bit more out about him today. Stay tuned. So Robert, we're going to talk a little bit about performance therapy. What exactly is performance therapy?
Performance therapy is actually a process that I take people through. It doesn't matter if you're an athlete or just a normal everyday person who's got job responsibilities. I do the same thing with mothers. It's about making a plan, and it's a 7-step process that I take people through. It involves commitment. It involves, what is your role? What are the things that you're supposed to be doing? It's goal setting. It's the whole package. And I also teach people tools that help them to eliminate some of the fears, some of the anxieties, some of the behaviors that cause them to sabotage themselves. And these tools are really the key to the therapy that I teach people.
Mm-hmm. What is the biggest negative impact on performance?
Anxiety.
Ooh.
Stress and anxiety. And people who are stressed basically create their own anxiety, and or people who are anxious are almost always stressed.
So you can kind of psych yourself out.
Absolutely. We saw it just in the Olympics recently where, we saw athlete after athlete choke on the big stage. Mm-hmm. Think about this. People spend 90% of their time preparing to do something, and then they don't prepare themselves to actually do it. Yeah.
Mentally.
And so an athlete prepares 90% of his time is spent practicing and getting their bodies all ready to do something. And they spend 10% of their time getting their minds prepared. And yet it's 90% of what's going on in your mind during the performance that creates the winners and the losers.
Is this why you started getting into personal success coaching?
Well, I actually didn't get into personal success coaching intentionally. It sort of happened by accident.
It always works like that.
No, what was happening is, I was working a lot with athletes, and I was professional athletes, but I was also working a lot with lawyers and doctors and dentists and professionals, and also with students, students who had test anxiety. And what I found is that no matter what happened, so what I was finding is that no matter how much preparation that we would do with them, okay, when the moment came for them to actually execute, they didn't execute the way they thought they would. And I was like, what's going on here? And then I started seeing that, over and over again. It was stress, it was anxiety, it was bad habits, it was behaviors from when they were kids. And so I started to develop techniques and different things. And I was using NLP at the time, a little hypnotherapy, and and breathing exercises, and a lot of different things to get people to calm down. And about 13 years ago, I came upon a body of work called energy psychology. And it really came upon me by accident. My aunt was trying to get me into this, and she kept saying, "You need to do this. You're coaching people anyways." And I said, "No, I don't coach people." Because I thought coaching was a trend, and I didn't want to have anything to do with it. Really, what I was a health coach, and I was a teacher. And I tell every client who comes in, first thing I'm going to do is, do you want to know what I'm doing? Because I'm a teacher. And I find that if you know what I'm doing, and if I explain to you what I'm doing to you, okay, you'll get better faster. So that's really what was important. And so as I started doing this more and more and more, I realized, yeah, that's kind of what they call coaching. And people were starting to come in going, "Hey, I want you to coach me. And this is what I want you to coach me through." And I'm thinking to myself, I'm going, okay. And I still, even to the last couple of years, I just didn't want to be called a coach. And then I realized, wait a minute, that's what I am. I'm a performance coach. I started studying sports psychology back when I was a kid, almost, because to me it was important. My dad was an athlete. I was an athlete, and I always knew that the biggest part of the game was this. Because and when I worked with the Oakland Raiders, I was interviewing people like Jerry Rice and Rich Gannon and Tim Brown, all these guys, and I would ask them, say, what's the big difference between you and everybody else on the field? Mental toughness and my ability to focus, and my ability to focus during my training, so that I didn't mess around. I had a plan, and my level of confidence. All of that is the mental stuff. And sports psychology, what I found in sports psychology was kind of worthless. It was like, it took too long, number one. It wasn't as effective as I would hope it would be, and it wasn't something that the athlete could do on their own. It was always therapist driven. And what I'm doing is I'm teaching people how to do it for themselves. So that's how it all started coming about. And so now I'm a performance coach, I'm a personal coach, I'm a health coach, I'm a coach. I'm a teacher. And that's really what I think of myself as.
Perfect. Alrighty, make sure that this is recording.
You're good.
Good, okay.
Danica, just a note
Yes.
for you, the microphone is over your shoulder, so if you're speaking when at one point you looked away and started a question, and as you came back, the audio came up.
Just look at me and ask a question.
Okay,
Yeah,
perfect,
you're
okay.
good.
So, I want to get some cutaways afterwards.
You're good.
Okay,
Let's just run.
okay. So supplements, you've developed quite a number of different supplements, Think Straight, Straight to Sleep. Tell us about some of those.
Well, this also came about out of necessity, really. What I was finding with a lot of my clients was they're coming in and they're on all these antidepressants and anti-anxiety medications. They're on pain medications. And one of the things I would say to them is, because I'm a sports therapist as well, and I was like, when you come in, I do not want you on painkillers because it's giving me a false sense of what is actually happening to you. So, like if somebody comes in and they're on Celebrex or they're on painkillers, and I'm going, does this hurt? And they're going, no, everything feels fine today. I'm thinking to myself, I'm going, wait a minute, and so when I started doing the coaching and the teaching, what I realized that these people weren't even telling me the truth because they don't know what the truth is. They're on these antidepressant drugs, and they were numb. They were emotionally numb. And when I was asking questions, they're like, oh no, everything's fine. My husband's leaving me, everything's fine. No, I just lost my job, but I feel fine today, and I'm going, what? And what I started realizing was that it was these antidepressants and these anxiety medications. And I asked them if they were sleeping, and they say, oh yeah, I'm sleeping great, and yet they're showing all these signs of sleep deprivation. And I'm going, well, what's going on? Oh, well, they take Ambien every night for sleep. I'm going, you're kidding us. Yeah, some nights it's not working as well as it used to. And I'm going, so I'm taking that with my Xanax now. And now that's where, and I'm going, they're not even sleeping. They just go into a drug-induced coma.
Right.
And so I've always believed in the Eastern philosophy of don't do for the body what it can do for itself. Give it the necessary ingredients, a catalyst, and let it rebalance itself. Remember, our bodies are self-healing machines. This is what it does, okay? And so the Think Straight, which is the first product that I developed on my own, I've developed 9 products, and all of these products have been to replace pharmaceutical drugs. And that was important for me because I needed to give people an alternative. Think about this. Some doctor, they come in and say, I've got an elbow pain. They wouldn't even know what to do with the elbow. They just start writing a prescription. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm going, oh my goodness. So what is it that I can do? Well, I'll tell you what. I developed a really great cream. It's a topical cream. It's an anti-inflammatory. It's got capsaicin in it. It's got all sorts of ingredients that help to relieve pain, but also helps the body to heal itself. Okay, all natural, no side effects. The side effects from these drugs were scary. It was basically you're taking poison, and that's the way I see it. My mom's a surgical nurse. I've got doctors. I've got one of my nephews. He runs a medical group for doctors, right? And they bow at the altar of doctors. I was always the opposite, and they used to think I was pretty out there, pretty crazy, right? But about 10 or 11 years ago, I came back, and all of a sudden they started hearing about what I was doing and some of the things. My mom was telling me some of the things I was doing, and they're like starting to ask me questions because you know what? They don't like the side effects of the drugs either, and they found that the drugs weren't very effective, and that they're getting worse and worse and worse, and their health is deteriorating, and they're seeing me, and the first thing they ask is, so what do you do? And so I started telling them, and they would roll their eyes, and then but they would look at me and they go, wait a minute. He looks great. He looks really healthy. He doesn't take any drugs. Oh yeah, that's right. He's really healthy. And then we look at ourselves. We're all on drugs. We've all had surgeries. We're all overweight. We all have no energy. We're all getting older faster, and we're all looking at, and look at him. He's the oldest one in the family, and he looks younger than most of us. What is going on?
How are your supplements different from the ones that are on the market already today?
Number one, they're all natural. Okay. Number two, they're science-based. Everything that I do has been researched ad nauseum. In fact, in the sleep formula that I developed, two things are happening when you can't sleep. First of all, 60% of people can't go to sleep. 40% of people wake up and can't go back to sleep. So if you take an Ambien, that addresses the first part. If you take Sonata, that addresses the second part, or Rosarum. But you don't have anything that connects them both together. Well, when I'm making a formula, I want to take care of both groups. And you can do it naturally. So there was a German study that was done, and it took 2 of the ingredients that are in my formula and put them up against Halcyon, which is a forerunner to Ambien. Okay? They found they were equally as effective at helping a person go to sleep with no side effects. So what I did is I said, great, we had to buy the the research. It was like $600 to buy the study, and the reason why I wanted the study is I wanted to know exactly how much they were using and at what strengths, so that I could put that in my formula. And so that's exactly what's in my straight to sleep formula. So it's 360 milligrams of this and 240 milligrams of that, and I added in the proper amounts of everything that made it therapeutic doses, and I put the whole thing together as a product, and then I tested it. And I retested it. We did a study on it. It was a grade 1 study, but I would just want to know, I want to make sure that we're getting what we think we're going to be giving to people, and the responses were overwhelming. So that's how I developed my products.
What are some of the benefits of your supplements?
Wow. Depends on which one. The pain relief cream is fantastic for people who have arthritis, who have had injuries. I give it to all my athletes. They almost bathe in it. It's really funny. They buy it by the case now. And we've got yoga instructors who sell it in their classes because, people are stretching and hurting themselves, but, kind of in a good way. But there's a lot of muscle soreness. They put it on the muscle soreness is gone the next day. The Think Straight is a formula that I developed for myself because I had a very difficult childhood. I suffered from anxiety and depression since I was 13. I mean, seriously. They wanted to medicate me, and they told me first I was manic depressive. Then when bipolar became the popular thing, he must be bipolar, and I'm just going to stay away from me. Fortunately for me, I exercised, and I exercised a lot, and that was my saving grace. But I was always trying different things until I finally found a couple of ingredients that really made a difference. One of them I was using to acclimate to altitude, and that's in my Think Straight product. And so I started doing all this research, and I put a product together for me for both my focus and concentration issues. They call that ADD. I call it a gift. It's a gift of conceptual thinking, right? So I could care less about details, okay? I have people around me that help me with all the details. But see, I can take abstract information and create something with it, which other people can't. That's my gift. That's what they call that ADD, and they want to drug it out of people. I'm going to stop doing that. These are the creative geniuses in our society. So Think Straight actually enhances that by helping me to focus, helping me to concentrate for longer periods of time, helping me to stay calm. There's an ingredient that I use that basically lowers cortisol levels. It keeps me calm, okay, so that I don't get too excited. I'm as you can tell, I talk fast. I'm very expressive. That's just me. And this basically just helps me stay a little level below that, so that I don't drive people nuts.
I call it passion.
Passion. Well, you know what? Exactly. So with the Think Straight, it does all those things, but it also gives me an incredible amount of energy, because it's got an ingredient called rhodiola, which Dr. Oz talks about, and many others too. Rhodiola is a wonderful herb. It's grown about 4,000 feet elevation. It helps us to acclimate to altitude, but it also helps us to utilize oxygen more efficiently. So again, stress, anxiety, focus, concentration. This is a product that helps the brain. See, the brain already knows how to do all this stuff. It just helps the brain do it more efficiently.